Another person that I would love to have back on the show is Silverwing, which I
Oh,
was talking to you before the show. Raphael Rao. I don't. Maybe you haven't followed him. Of course, I don't know if you're like a big Octane guy or not. So that kind of makes sense.
I'm dipping my toe in.
Yeah. It's if you want to check out Silverwing stuff, like it's really good. And the big thing this week is that he actually is diving into Blender. He did his logo with the Blender, or he did the Blender logo like with his logo kind of built in. Like if you don't know his logo, this logo wouldn't make sense, you know. But everybody speculated that he was switching, but he's not actually switching. He's got Blender for C4D users tutorial that he just put out. He says, I'm not switching, I am expanding. There will also be C4D Octane tutorials here in the future, which those are fantastic, by the way. He put out an Octane compositing nodes tutorial, which those compositing nodes and everything are great. They're a great way to like kind of pre-comp stuff if you're already inside of Octane and you don't want to like render out like 500 layers and different passes and put them into After Effects. But his stuff is so good, and he dives into the science of it. He dives into the settings. He tells you why. You know, like if you asked him things about IOR and specular and all that, like he knows all about the real world physics of it and everything. It's so good. It's so good. So check those out. And if you are looking to get into Blender, there are some reasons to and not, I guess. If you're new to Blender, or I'm sorry, if you're new to 3D, I can see that you would go to Blender, right? Like that's the free one, as we all know, right? And I think that it's like a dilemma for people around our age, because especially, I mean, I know it is for me. If you're working B2B, if you're doing business to business, you get to choose what piece of software you want. I don't feel like I have a reason to go to Blender. But on the other hand, if you're just getting into it, if you're a contractor and everyone's looking for a Blender person, yeah. But it doesn't hurt
I
to
think it
know it.
all boils down to use the sell the results, not the tool. And so if I
Right.
need 3D and I don't know where to get 3D from, I'm going to talk to any 3D artist that can deliver that particular product.
Mm-hmm.
And the tool itself doesn't matter. It's the same concept as Animation Bootcamp. So be familiar with how to use one or the other. And if you can do one thing, I'm sure you can fumble around the other side. I'm not a power 3D user. I fumbled inside of Cinema 4D. I learned Maya a decade ago. But yeah, I think just sell the results, not the tool.
Well, I didn't have a chance to watch any of Silverwing's Blender stuff yet, but I have a respect for him doing all that work on it, because me personally, I don't feel like if I were somebody with his amount of experience and everything, I would be able to take the time to do it. Like right now, like I can't even open the dang program and get into it, let alone go on a bender like he did and just learn all of this. Like he has just been in it, and I'm like, how do you find the time? How do you find the time? And I would like to know why. And maybe this tutorial, his first tutorial, says why, but like because he is saying that he's expanding, but he's not necessarily moving to it. It's like, but why? Is it for the tutorials? Is it so that you have knowledge of it? Is it because you have people using it? I would like to know a little bit more about that.
That'd be a great question to ask.
Yeah. And who brought it up this morning in the Monday meeting? Somebody brought up that the older you get, the harder it is to do that stuff, right? Or maybe not necessarily older, but the more responsibilities. If you get older and you have a family, it's harder. You barely have time to get the stuff done, let alone dive into something else, right?
I know how to do it this way. I'm going to get it done this way.
Absolutely. And it's hard to do those things. So I have a lot of respect for him just taking such a dive. I know other people are doing that right now as well. Like Jags. I know Jags is diving into it. Nick Donnellan said that but yeah, it was Jeff. Thanks, Jen. It was Jeff. And so you just got to look at it yourself. I think there's pressure. I think that's the problem. I think the pressure is the problem. People are like, oh, you got to learn Blender. Why? Or same with Unreal, right? I feel this pressure to learn these things, but I don't know why I'm supposed to be doing that. Goes back to the
I
internet.
think it all comes down to the relationships you have and the business you're building.
Right.
If you are working with studios that require Cinema 4D, then you're going to stick in Cinema 4D.
Yeah.
But if you are a new studio, like Hyperfocus, for example, we are not a 3D house. We're a 2D studio and live action studio. And so if I need an artist to do 3D work, I am going to go talk to the person that I have the best relationships with, and it's not really about the tools that they use. Now, as the new generation comes into everything and they're learning new things, like I said, 10 years ago, I was learning Maya. I don't know very many people that start in Maya anymore. And so people that are learning more and more about Blender, that opens up a whole new relationship world, a whole new workforce. And so as long as your relationships are already pre-established and you are strong and you're a good communicator and your clients aren't going anywhere, there's not really a need to learn additional things. But if you want to just keep competing, then you got to learn all the tools.
Well, here's one of the reasons I would use Blender. If I was going to start doing some sort of kids show and it had a whole bunch of characters, right? I'm not very good at characters to begin with. So I'm going to maybe learn, if I'm going way into it, right? I'm going all in. I know that I have heard that either Maya or Blender, mainly Maya, is better for this character stuff. I keep hearing that, okay? Does Cinema do it? Yes. Do I know how to mess with it a little? Kind of. I've done a couple things. And maybe that would be a good example. But like when it comes to the day-to-day, if I'm going to do some flying text or rotate a model of someone's product and have it land somewhere, like why do I need to reinvent the wheel for that if that's what I'm delivering for my clients? What is going to...
And I think in those cases, I don't think you do. It's kind of like Casey put here. As a mom, she always felt pretty left in the dust, but she keeps getting paid for what she knows. And Jen said that she keeps getting paid because of her soft skills. We are still in a fairly early age of the Mograph industry. It's only been around for 15, 20 years on the long end, as far as the current rendition of it. I mean, it goes back to the 60s if you want to get really, really crazy with it. But we don't know what it's going to look like in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And there might be so many different diversifications and so many different industries that it's going to be very clear that you're going to use this one or that one or this one or that one. And maybe you have some overlap and stuff, but not a lot. So I think we keep doing what we're good at. We learn tools when we can, and don't worry about learning every single tool out there because you'll go crazy. I don't need to learn Rive and Houdini and Cinema 4D and Blender and. I just need to find the 3 or 4 things that are going to set my career for success, double down on them, and if they start going away, learn something new.
Right. Yeah, all the hype about Rive, right? Oh, Rive. And I'm like, oh, this is cool, but like the examples I saw were like animating 2D characters, and I don't do that. So now there's pressure to learn Rive.
But why?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, but why though? But why?
No.
I just need to stop
pick your
listening
specialty,
to the internet.
pick your niche,
see?
talk to those clients.
Yeah. Don't worry about what the internet says ever.
And never read the comments.
And never read the comments.